Hi, I want to review with you how to work with conditional statements that have large ranges. So you can't just say if your variable equals this, or your variable equals this, or your variable equals this. We're talking about if you've got 20 different things or more than that it may be. You're going to have to use a range using greater than and equal to or less than and equal to, less than or equal to. So I want to go over one. We'll use grades, and we've used this a lot of times before in class. For an example, we ask the person for their grade, assuming they're going to give us an int between like 0 and 100 or something like that. And then we're going to tell them the letter grade. So just like our normal, I've used our normal grading scale like we did for school. So I have this saved in a file called grades. So I'm going to copy it and paste it into main so I can test it. So make sure you're doing that. If you're not testing your work, then how do you know if it works or not? So please make sure you're taking the time to test your code. So we're going to run this. What's your grade? Let's say it's a 90. It should give us an A. Yep. Let's run it again. What's your grade? 75. C, that sounds right. What's your grade? 40. Ouch. F. Okay, so that's good. Notice here we have cast the input statement as an int. So we'll be able to use greater than and less than, because we're looking at numbers and evaluating those. And notice here we have an if, elif, else chain. So we have 3 elif statements in there, but these all go together. So this is looking at the variable, and from this statement or this bit of code, you're going to get one piece of output. So as soon as one of the conditions is met, it's going to stop and print it, because we're using if, elif, and then else. And you could just use if and elif. You don't have to always have that else on there. But we're only going to get one thing printed because we're using a chain like this. Let me show you what happens if we have all if statements. So I'm gonna have to, here's my file, and you just need to copy it and paste it into main.py so you can test it out. So this one's a little bit different than what we just tested. So notice this one does not have if, elif, else. It just has if, and then this else goes, the else, the way this is written, these two would go together. I'm going to change this to if grade is less than 60, just so we have all if statements. All right, so this is in main, so let's run it. It's going to ask us our grade. Let's say we got a 90. What? How can you have an A, B, C, and D for 90? Not good, because these are all independent if statements. So it's checking here, it's checking grade here, prints an A. Then it's checking this one because it's independent. If it's greater than or equal to 80, which 90 is greater than or equal to 80, then it prints a B. Then it goes down here to this one, and 90 is also greater than or equal to 70, and these are all true, so it prints all of them. So this would work if you only tested it for an F. Let's say we got a 40. Hey, it works, but so you have to do multiple tests. So be sure you, and if you tested it for a D, you'd be okay too. So if they've got 65, yeah, it seems like it works. So be sure you're testing it for all possible inputs. So this is why we use an if, elif, else chain rather than just if, because it evaluates them independently. Okay, also let's look at, you got to be careful and to make sure that all of your input will have some kind of, is covered and will have some kind of output. So I'm going to copy this from this one's grades with no equal signs. And I just basically took the initial grades program, the grades code that I had, and took the equal signs out. So if we run this, if grade's greater than 90, so we've got 95, it's an A. Awesome. We're going to run it again. What if I get a 40? F. Okay, seems like it works. How about a 75? Seems like it works. What if I just get a 90? That's not right. Okay, so you have to be careful when you're writing these. This is an if, elif, else chain, so that's all good. But you got to be careful about what your cutoff points are. So in this case, it's telling us if we got a 90, it's a B. Let's say we got an 80. An 80 should be a B, B minus, but still a B. But it's telling us it's a C. So what we would have to do here is either add equal sign there for if grade is greater than or equal to 90, or you can just do if grade is, and we're just doing ints, so you can just do if grade is greater than 89. So now if we put in 90, we should be good. Yep. And then here, we can make this one 79. And we'll run that for an 80. Or we could have put in an equal sign. We could have done, whoops, greater than or equal to 80. So either one works. You just have to be sure that whenever you're running these, that all possible inputs are covered, okay? So be careful about that and make sure you're testing your code a lot, especially before you turn it in. Okay, let me show you one more thing. I've got grades. In this case, we're asking for grades still, and we have an if else chain. But we have them going starting from the bottom, from the lowest grade. And I want to copy that and paste it into main.py so we can play around with that and test it. So let's run that. Remember, you have to copy and paste into main.py or you're not able to run and test your code. Okay, so for this one, what's your grade? 40. It's an F. Okay, that seems like it works. What's your grade? 95. What? How's that a D? So if you look at this, because our if else chain starts at greater than 60, greater than or equal to 60, if we put in a 95, if it doesn't meet this first condition, which it doesn't, it's not less than 60, it does meet this second one though, because we're checking to see if it's greater than or equal to 60. It is, it's 95. So it's like, okay, cool, we'll stop right here, print a D, done. Okay, and that's what if else does. We want, and this one doesn't have else, which is fine. We want to make sure that it has, that it only prints one thing, which that's good, but you just have to be sure that it's in the correct order and that you're, that it makes sense. So if you're checking greater than or equal to, you're gonna have to start at the top of your scales, top of what you're testing. I hope that makes sense. I think that's all I want to talk to you. So be careful about the order there and make sure when you're testing these that you go to your code, you select it, Control-C to copy it, and then go to main and Control-V to print it, or to paste it, sorry. Got an extra G in there. Oh gosh, my dog's barking. Okay, so be sure you're doing that and you're running it multiple times to test your code. Please email me at kscott@nafcs.org if you have any questions. See ya.